hate me for being a flat earther? You and Neil deGrasse can go to the moon for free holding hands for the hell I care. Tickets are printable. Get a social life, homie. I'm not the pushing cart you're pushing. I'm not your ex and I'm not your girlfriend. Yo, you don't have to like me. Swear to God, I don't care.
I'ma do something, I do it. I don't give a damn what you think. I'm doing this for me. So fuck the world, feed it beans. It's gassed up. Everything's stopping me.
You coward longhorns Pikachu. Turtleneck, Bigfoot whip. Again, I'm not worried about being liked. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow stressed. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow broke. No, I'm not going to wake up and stop charity. No, so chill. Voice note for 3 minutes. You really think I listen to it? I forward it to the tab of my son so he can listen to it and pretend that he's talking to somebody else. I'm in a state of life where I no longer care. People gonna talk about you regardless. One thing I'm not gonna do is to give up my peace to please other people. So whatever you think about me, I'm cool with it, like an ice on a freezer. Shalom. Lobetards will argue until the end that we are living in a spinning ball from east to west. But how many miles per hour does plane travel? That's 550 miles per hour. So if Earth is moving 1,000 miles per hour, and let's say you are traveling to Miami, if you are flying east and moving 1,000 miles per hour, and my plane going 550 miles per hour, people are not going to get there on their destination, which is Miami. Imagine flying and chasing Miami. And also they say it is orbiting the sun at 65,000 miles per hour, and add the Earth's 1,000 miles per hour. Fastest than a sport car, don't you think? What they show you, all these public space offices, is all opposite on how God created Earth. It is totally the opposite. Because if you believe Earth is spinning like a ball, then you don't believe God at all. Earth is not moving, but only sun, moon, and stars. It's so absurd that you go to church, go to mosque, pray to God, and believe the opposite, because that's what scientists told you to. You won't believe it for now because the indoctrination they feed on you at school since grade 1, memorizing the 7 planets, the colors of it, that sun is a firing ball, Earth is globe, and it rotates, and so on. Even if you argue below, you will never change the fact that Earth is flat inside an ostrich egg shaped that produce electromagnetism folds, and it's not gravity. This is the simplest experiment that you can understand. The object in the middle levitates using an electromagnetic force. Then smoke is added to show a firmament bubble. The smokes represents the gas in our atmosphere, all contained in a vacuum. It's the same of our Earth physical realm.
So we know the Earth is a globe because ships disappear over our curving horizon, right? Like that's always what happens, right? You can't zoom in with binoculars and then see the ship that seems to have disappeared below a curving horizon, right? Hold on a sec. 6 kilometers away. And look at that, they reappear. That's so weird. Now, shouldn't they be under curving water? Which I've never been able to make water curve. I don't think any scientist has ever been able to do anything to water to actually make it curve. So, take that into consideration. But the Earth is a globe, right? Don't be ridiculous. Don't believe your own eyes, right? Water curves. Even though all the laws of physics say that water can't curve, it does. Just listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He has your best interest in mind. That's 18 kilometers away. Can still see the bottom of the ship.
So you still think the moon is a reflector of the sun's light, right? Well, stick around and you're gonna find out that what mainstream science feeds us is a lie, and the moon actually produces its own light. Also, mainstream science also tells us that the moon was created by a Mars-sized planet. Hitting Earth broke a huge piece off, which is the moon, and now is orbiting Earth. But do you think if the moon was a reflector of the sun's light, it would be glowing like this all the time? Absolutely not. But if it was reflecting the sun's light, shouldn't it have a hot spot like these balls here? But pay attention to this video I'm about to show you. Check it out.
Alright, the exposed side is reading at 37.9. So go ahead and start moving that towards the side that has been shaded. As you climb.
Wow. Then he's gonna move it back. Watch this.
Go ahead and hold that at 42.6. Let's take it back to the side exposed to the moonlight. Which will gradually drop. We are back to
Wow.
37.5.
So when you measure the temperature of the shade of the moon versus the light of the moon, you actually find that the shade of the moon is a lot hotter, which is opposite of the sun. We know that when sitting in the sun, it's a lot hotter than sitting in the shade of the sun. The Bible also tells us that the moon produces its own light. This is Mark chapter 13, verse 24. But in those days after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. One more, this is Isaiah 13:10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light, and the sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Notice in these verses that God did not say the moon is a reflector of the sun's light, but a light in and of itself.
Flat Earthers and Globe Earthers team up to do the experiment that will end the debate for good. They're traveling to Antarctica to watch the 24-hour sun take place. And if the physical sun is seen for 24 hours, then that would have to end the debate. But it would have to be the actual physical sun you see and not just sunlight, because there are certain parts of the year where the sunlight can actually reflect around the dome and cause there to be sunlight in all of Antarctica, but not being able to see the actual physical sun. So as you see, at this time of the year, whenever the sun goes around, there's still sunlight in all of Antarctica around the ice wall, just not the actual sun. Oh, while I got you here, might as well explain southern star trails. So you see in hyperbolic vision. So if you were to place yourself at the equator and face north, it would appear that the stars rotated one way, and if you face south, they will appear to turn the other way due to hyperbolic vision. This is your dome of vision. So let's see if these guys can even get the clearance to go far enough south to see the supposed 24-hour sun on the supposed globe. Because all I've ever seen is people having to pay like $5,000 to $20,000 to go over to Deception Island in Antarctica and do a guided tour.
If you don't question the narrative after this video, you just might not be someone that's going to ever do that. Do you know what city you're looking at here? What about now? Ancient Rome? Greece? Definitely somewhere in Europe, right? Well, what if I told you it was Chicago in 1893, and that all of these structures were Chicago at the World's Fair in 1893? And supposedly, all of this was designed just as a temporary city to be demolished at the end of the fair. They called it the White City, and everything was just painted white, and it wasn't made of stone, but just a mixture of plaster and cement, so it was real easy to take down at the end of the fair. But you see, here's where the narrative starts to crumble. The Museum of Science and Industry, which was supposedly created during the World's Fair, is right there, and this is a picture from that time period. And this building supposedly which was created for the World's Fair as a temporary structure, still stands in Chicago to this day. And with a quick Google search, you can see that the Museum of Science and Industry is made of limestone. And when you look at the buildings that used to be here, that were supposedly facades and made of plaster, you quickly see they're the same material. And then you drive down the street just a little bit to find Soldier Field with the exact type of columns and limestone structure. And then you research when Soldier Field was first constructed, and it says 1922. And all the construction photos, all of them, all show the columns already standing. Literally, all of them. It's funny, there are no pictures of construction without the columns. Even the earliest one I found, with no stadium at all, still had the columns. Could it be that these columns and these types of structures found all over the world and all over the United States, like in New Hampshire here, and Philadelphia, and Washington, and San Francisco, and Madison, Wisconsin, and again, back to Chicago, could all be coming from a time period where we actually had very advanced technology that they don't want us to know about. Because if we did, we would know that we're not just always evolving and getting smarter, and that we don't know better than our ancient ancestors, who all thought the Earth was an enclosed system with a dome over it. And that if we knew that technology existed to move rocks with sound or to use lasers to cut images in stone, then we might realize technology's always been here. Because technology doesn't come from the brains of men. It comes from the will of God. And the fallen angels chose to exchange technology for women. And if we knew there's been technology and advancement all along, then it opens your eyes to the fact of what's actually going on in the world. And that's a whole big topic for another time, but it's a spiritual thing. And that brings me all the way back to the beginning of where I started this. Because if you knew the type of technology and advanced buildings and structures from this to the pyramids, and that we've always had that, then you don't believe the narrative that is hand-fed to you through the textbooks and through the indoctrination of general education. And once you realize all of that is garbage, you see that this is where you actually live. And once you see this, like I keep saying, you take all your power back and you realize the only laws you have to follow are the laws of God. So if you believe the narrative that these beautiful structures were all created with paper mache with the intent of taking them down right after the World's Fair, and they just happened to build the one that's still standing regularly with limestone, then you probably still think you live here and that our government is looking out for our best interest, and that these guys aren't really running the show.
I am genuinely starting to believe that everything we've ever been taught is a lie. Everything. I believe our global history is a lie. I believe the things that we've been taught through our education systems is a lie. Science is a lie. Math is a lie. Geography we've been taught is a lie. Starting to believe that our governments are filled with liars. There are no more good people on any side. Believe what we've been taught about religion and spirituality is a lie. I believe that Hollywood is a wicked institution. I believe that the entertainment industry is a wicked institution. I believe that the media is a wicked institution. I don't believe the crazy people are crazy anymore.
Oh, the Earth isn't flat, huh? NASA doesn't seem to think so. NASA publication report document on the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model. This report documents the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Army Research Laboratory document, propagation of electromagnetic fields over a flat Earth. NASA document on trajectory simulation. This simulation assumes a vehicle with 6 degrees of freedom and aerodynamic symmetry in roll, and the missile position in space is computed relative to a flat and non-rotating Earth. Detection algorithm document from NASA. Only the range to the center of the field of view and the depression angle is known, so that a flat Earth approximation provides the best estimate. NASA document on stability and control estimation flight test results for the SR-71 aircraft assume a rigid vehicle and a flat, non-rotating Earth. Engineering experiment station document from Georgia Institute of Technology. A model frequently used is that of a flat and non-rotating Earth. NASA document on the mathematical model of the CH-53 helicopter. The nonlinear equations of motion used in the linearization program are general 6-degree of freedom equations representing the flight dynamics of a rigid aircraft flying in a stationary atmosphere over a flat and non-rotating Earth. NASA documentation on equations of motion. The helicopter equations of motion are given in body axes with respect to a flat and non-rotating Earth. NASA document on the aircraft landing model. The aircraft trajectory model employed in this study was derived based on the following assumptions. What does the first one say? The Earth is flat and non-rotating. The DPS equations of motion use 4 assumptions that simplify the program while maintaining its fidelity for most maneuvers and applications. Point mass modeling, non-turbulent atmosphere, 0 side forces, and a non-rotating Earth. NASA document on the projectile flight dynamic model with a liquid payload. A typical 6DOF rigid projectile model is employed to predict the dynamics of a projectile in flight. These equations assume a flat Earth. NASA documentation on the 2-dimensional flight. In this section, the 3-dimensional equations of motion are reduced for flight in a great circle plane, the XZ plane, over a flat and non-rotating Earth. Under the previously mentioned assumption of no side force and no side slip, the zeroth order equations of motion representing flight in a vacuum over a flat Earth. A property-based system design method with application to a targeting system for small UAVs. These targeting methods were considered assuming a flat Earth. The evaluation revealed a descending utility order of DTED, flat Earth, and range based upon the system's stated requirements. Through the government CIA website, cia.gov, and I came across this document. And let's just take a read at what it says, shall we? Let's take a read at what it says, shall we? It appears that the government is taking photographic observations of the spectral intensity of the firmament. It also says that the spectral brightness of the firmament along the Alma-Centaur or the Alma-Centaura of the Sun was observed in the Pugachev and the Alma-Ata regions by means of a spectrograph with a glass lens system. Alma-Centaur means the solar trajectory of the Sun around the flat Earth. Now, real quick, for everyone out there who's not aware of what the firmament is, let's take a look at what the mainstream Wikipedia narrative definition is for the firmament. In biblical cosmology, the firmament is a vast, solid dome created by God during the Genesis creative narrative to divide the primal sea into the upper and lower portions. Okay, but it says right here that the concept of the firmament was dropped with advances in astronomy in the 16th and the 17th century. So they're telling you that there is no firmament. But yet, what do you know? Here we are back with another document from CIA.gov talking about a near-sun halo that's giving off perpendicular rays of light. Okay, the government knows that the Earth is flat and they're up there doing experiments on the firmament trying to get analytical data on it. Okay, the dissertation contains a certain formula of the brightness of the sky, taking into consideration only the brightness of the first order and derived on the assumption of a flat Earth and giving some conclusion derived on the basis of this formula. A method is also proposed of determining the brightness of the clear daylight sky at any point based on measuring the brightness along the Alma-Centaur of the Sun and of 5 to 6 points of the firmament located at various zenith distances. And once again, for those who didn't catch it before, the word Alma-Centaur or Alma-Centaura means the solar trajectory of the Sun around the flat Earth. Okay, but here we are yet again, CIA.gov, official document, talking about spectral photographic observations of the firmament. Okay, but we just looked at Wikipedia, okay, and the official narrative is that the firmament does not exist. But yet here we are on the CIA government website saying that the color temperature of the firmament amounts to 6,100 to 1,750 degrees Kelvin. And if that still wasn't enough proof,
it came in the mail and y'all are opening it with me. Ooh. Smell it. Woo!
flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Idialenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.